Let's start as we usually do by creating a new offer in iQuoteWin. In our example, I'm starting with my template in order to have the main data, the customer data, price lists, and the sales conditions already loaded into the offer. So I can move to the Attachments tab. Here I'm going to create a new project, selecting a new Revit project, and I have to choose my template, so I can select one of these existing model, and these are our system templates, or I can choose an existing RVT file. In our example, I'm going to create a project using the iQuote millimeter English template. So confirm and save it. And I would like to show you after I have created my Revit project, I can add more Revit project, but I cannot create an AutoCAD project. So at the start, I have to decide if I want to project in Revit or in iQuoteCAD. Then double click to start my Revit session. Now I make a little digression about this message. Autodesk Revit, like AutoCAD, has different versions, such as 2020, 2021, 2022, etc. But differently from AutoCAD, each version of Revit requires its own file type. And considering that today the oldest version of Revit supported in iQuote is the 2021, so we have inserted into the system template the RVT 2021 file type, and if I open that template with a further version, in my case I have Autodesk Revit 2023, Revit automatically converts the template to the right format. So we have to go on upgrading the RVT 2021 file. And we are into the main screen of Revit. As you can see, we have to log in iQuote. Differently from AutoCAD and iQuoteCAD, the auto login is not possible at the first start of Revit. This is a Revit limitation. So we have to go into the iQuote ribbon bar and press login and insert our password to log in into our work group in iQuote. Interface in Revit is composed similar to AutoCAD regarding the iQuote functions. So we have the iQuote palette, and at the top we have the iQuote ribbon bar from where we log in and where we can find all the other commands to work with iQuote function. Palette management in Revit is not so useful like in AutoCAD. On the left we have the two tabs for the RFA properties and for the project browser, but we cannot hide them to have more working space in our plans. So as you prefer, you can for example insert iQuoteRevit here on the left by dragging it, for example, over the properties palette and then taking the project browser palette and moving at the same in the anchorage on the left. And in this way I have at the bottom the 3 tabs to move in all palette. But as you can see, I cannot auto hide like we do in AutoCAD. And for example, to use this palette we have to enlarge them, taking space for the work. So in my opinion, but it is a personal opinion, I prefer to have the iQuoteRevit out from the anchored position. Then I'm moving back also the property tabs here. Okay, and in my case I have created a keyboard shortcut that allow me to close the iQuoteRevit palette and reopen it by the keyboard shortcuts. At the same way I could close the Revit, work in my plans and restore the palette with the commands here into the ribbon bar. The key shortcuts that I have created to open the iQuoteRevit palette is manageable from the view menu into the user interface function. I can go to manage the keyboard shortcuts. If I search for iQuote, iQuote, I have a tool palette iQuoteRevit, and here you can input your preferred shortcuts. In my case, I have created the Ctrl Q shortcuts. So we have to start to draw a wall, and we can use the Revit command because this is its job. So we can work like in AutoCAD, input the dimension or not, as you prefer. Okay. Insert the door and some window at the same, just to have something into the room. Okay. And also we can insert the floor. Okay, in Revit you have to select the wall, and then other thing that is strongly related to the interface of Revit is that I haven't the right click on the mouse to confirm. So the menu is very poor compared to AutoCAD. For example, in this case, I was placing a floor, and to confirm it, I can only go into the confirm button here. This is another limit we can call a limitation of Revit compared to AutoCAD, but interface is this one, and Autodesk has not developed it so much until now. So we have insert also the floor, and now we can try to insert some item. The navigation is the same as in iQuoteWin or in AutoCAD, so you can browse your library and insert your elements as you prefer with, for example, the accessory, and drag them into. This message that takes some seconds is the same we saw at the start when we were starting the new project file, and I explained you the conversion of the template from 2021 to 2023 format. So the same is for the item while you are inserting the first time into each project. So the item is taken from the library in 2021 format, and the first placing is converted into the iQuoteRevit 2023 format in this case. Now go to insert the accessories. As I told you, the context menu with the right click button of the mouse is poor compared to the AutoCAD one. So iQuoteRevit provide you automatically these commands while you are inserting the accessories. They are the same you have in the context menu in iQuoteCAD. So you can select, for example, the base poise rotation, in my case, to insert my base. And the same is for the door. In this case, I want to put it manually, so switch to Revit, and then I go to insert here my door. The same is for I insert some other item to create some object, for example this one. So we have also some connection, and Revit automatically recognizes the other object into the drawing. So now I am dragging this gas booling top, and if I go near the other object, it automatically put the item near the endpoint of the previous one. So in this situation, Revit is smarter than AutoCAD, where you have to enable the snap and put the item at the endpoint of the previous one. As you can see here, we have also the connection, gas in this case, connected to the item. I think that here we have more than one connection. So we can drag, no, here is only one connection. So we can insert, for example, another with open base and 3 door, for example. So this is the same like we work in AutoCAD. I can insert my 3 door and another. Okay, this one. Okay, that have this has 3 connection, and like we do in AutoCAD, if I have more than one connection, I can take them and moving where I want to have the connection in the drawing. So the position, like in iQuoteCAD, you can manage the format of the number here. For example, if you want to have smaller, you can change the dimension, and you have the possibility to align the position number. In this case, I select all this object, and I must click on finish always, because I haven't the right click button of the mouse in Revit. So finish to confirm the selection, and then I can align my position numbers. Now let's take a look on how this tab work with our project. So this is a workshop. I didn't tell you before, but on my first insertion, I pressed ESC on my keyboard to cancel the block insertion, and like it happens in iQuoteCAD, if you cancel block insertion, the block is not inserted into the drawing, but the offer row is created in my offer. And in this case, iQuote is showing in the column state status, that is the same you have in AutoCAD. There is the difference between the offer and the drawing. In this case, this item is not present into the drawing, but is present into the offer. So I want to align the offer, and I'm going to delete it from the offer. In Revit, there are two columns about the status. The first one, as I just said, is related to the synchronization between CAD block and offer row. The second one is related to data information. So data information is the information we have into the iQuote database, into the library, in the offer row in this case, and the information we have in the RFA file, so the family information. So in this second column, you can see if the information of the family is synchronized with the information of the offer row, so the library database, the iQuote database information. And now to see how it works, I can, for example, edit one of these information. You can go to edit the item and change, for example, the description. I delete this. Okay. Now you can see the first column is aligned because the block is present in my project and is aligned into the offer. So now you can right click on the second column and decide how to correct this this information. You can correct Revit parameters. So in this case, you will change the description of the Revit parameters with the one I have just modified into the offer row. So I can insert the offer description into the Revit parameters, or I can restore to the offer row to the with the the Revit parameters. I'm going to edit the Revit family, and this warning is another thing is because this item, the worktop, is the same I have inserted here in this position. And so if I go to change the Revit parameters like I'm doing now, it means I will change all the parameters for the same item. So if I press yes, now we will see here we have worktop with the description, and for this worktop that in the drawing is this one, I have changed description here and also these parameters, because in Revit these parameters are one for all the item, the same item. So this worktop and this worktop are referring to the same Revit information. Look at this, I close iQuote. So if I change this family information, putting back, for example, the original description, okay, it has changed also for this item because the Revit family is the same. I inserted the same object. If I want to have a different information for this item, I have to create a special item. I want to finish this explanation about the synchronization of data status because if I modify more than one item, I have to go one-to-one to correct all the difference. So if I edit this description, save it. Now I have more discrepancies, and I should correct one by one. If I want, I can enable into the options. So here, this option. This option allow to me to automatically synchronize Revit data. This synchronization is only in one direction. So enable this automatic synchronization Revit data allow me to insert into the Revit parameters the data I have into the offer, and is only in this direction. Let's take a look. So I'm enabling this option. We can go back to the original description. And now I'm going to do the same operation from the drawing. This is the auto-saving of Revit. Into the drawing, I'm going to edit this item. And I change back the offer description, so the iQuote database description. I save it, and as you can see, iQuote is automatically asking for me to synchronize all the other Revit families. So iQuote is now updating all the Revit parameters related to this worktop. Okay, and data status is automatically aligned between the row and the Revit parameters here. The other option is the same we have in AutoCAD, the check compliance, and is related to the first column status to update automatically the compliance between offer and geometry of the Revit families. Okay, now about the special item. I'm showing you how to create a special item like you do in AutoCAD. Then my knowledge with the Revit function is poor, so I show you only the sequence of command to create the special without making really the special object. So if I insert this work table and I want to stretch it exactly the same we do in AutoCAD, I go into the customize block button here and then select the object. I can take an external file. I can make a clone of this. I can make a special that is the same as clone, but marking the offer row as a special item. And so making, for example, a special item, like in AutoCAD, it opens a new window where I can edit my block. Now, this object of our library, we have the possibility to stretch the dimension with the parameter, because this block is not created with the parametric dimension. However, I'm going to do an extrusion. So just to edit the geometry here, Okay, I have to confirm with the button, then I go to stretch it. And when I have done my edit to the object, I can load it into the project, closing the window. It asks to me if I want to save the change to the block, and so also to the Revit families. You can see that is in this save message you have this long number, and it means that Revit is creating new families. Okay, so when you modify an object and save it, it creates a new Revit family. So now I'm going to override the existing version. I have my new object, and the the family is a new one, copied by the previous one, but is going to have all a new object. It means if I insert again the same table, the original one, okay, this Revit family is different from this one that was created during the clone in this case. So I can edit the information here of my families, for example. So the focus was that if we have a new item, a special item, it has a new families where we can work and edit the parameter. That is different families respect the original one.
Okay.
If I, for example, restore this item with iQuote function, like we have in AutoCAD, I can restore from the library, and you can see that the family is coming back to the original one. And I can decide to update the information to the family already present into the drawing. In this case, this one and this one are now the same family. Okay, so the concept is when I create a special item, I create a new family.
Okay.
Okay, now legends. I told you before, while we are talking about the Revit parameters, that the legends take data information from the Revit families, so not from the offer row. So for this, it is important to have data status synchronized to be sure that our offer is corresponding to the legend we insert into the drawing. Okay, so we assign before the position to have this offer complete. The position, like in AutoCAD, you can assign with renumber position button here. Okay, so selecting the items to number, or we can use the automatic enumeration like we do in AutoCAD. The same is for the area management. So I would insert the area. We haven't anything on the right click of the mouse, so we can insert from here. I select the object and confirm here with this finish button. Okay. Then, like we do in AutoCAD, we can drag from here the items into the area. and then I go to number all so we can make the legend. Legend, we can create our table from here, item list. In Revit, we haven't all the same feature we have in AutoCAD. So, for example, the preview in this part of the screen is not possible to have in Revit. Revit cannot create the preview. The model creation is the same you already have in AutoCAD and in iQuoteWin. So I can create a new one. Position. Another important thing is that in Revit is impossible to insert the quantity. Now I'll show you, because in the legend, Revit doesn't manage the quantity column. I show you now into the drawing. Okay, this is our legend. I can decide to group by area or not, and I have to decide if I want a legend for the items or for the connection. Let's start with the items, and with this button I have the commercial legend here. I close my palette, so I go on my legend, and now to sort by position, you can come here into the properties of the schedule, because Revit calls the legend schedule, and decide to order, for example, by position mark. Okay, the problem is this: as you can see, Revit automatically make a group, so we can come here and remove the flag. It delete the grouping selection. So all this information that we have here in the description and also in the parameters for the dimensions are taken, I repeat this, not from the library information, but from the Revit family information. So if I, for example, switch off the automatic synchronization, and in my offer I change the description and also the dimension, and I leave this discrepancy, I see that in the schedule I have my worktop with the description and dimensions of the Revit family, and not the one with the offer database. If I correct the Revit parameters with the offer data, also the legend is updated with the same offer data. Now, different from AutoCAD is also that the legend has in real time connected to the Revit family's information. It is possible to edit the information in the legend. I can write, for example, here, but you have to know any change you are doing here are replicated, are saved into the Revit families. So you have the discrepancy. So all the modification you input here manually have a consequence. The same, for example, if you delete an item, a row. So it is not a table with a row, but it is a table with data row. So deleting from here, okay, it deletes into the offer too. Okay, so pay attention while edit the table information, the schedule information. Regarding the legend of the related to the connection, I show you coming here. I'm going to create the, for example, gas. So I take code, position, and then gas connection with connection description and power. Okay. Here I have to switch from items to connection, and I can group or not by connection type. And what I want to show you is that Revit manage the connection different from AutoCAD. So as you can see, Revit inserts all the connection into the schedule. So electricity, drainage, and cold water, etc. Of course, this connection haven't any power information, so it put them to 0. What we have done in iQuote is to work with connection filter. So while you are creating your model, you can decide here to filter for some connection into this model. But Revit doesn't allow us to select multiple connections. So, for example, if you are usually to have one legend for electricity, monophase and three-phase, here you have one for monophase and one for three-phase. The same for the water, one for cold water and one for hot water. Revit doesn't allow to have a middle way, so or all the connections or one type of connection. So in this case, I select gas. Okay, now it telling me that I've already inserted the schedules with gas legend. I can overwrite it or insert a new one. I insert new one, and so I have my legend with only the connection, the gas connection. This filter, so I coming back here to connection type, okay, is strongly connected to the filter we have here in Revit. In fact, if I edit it, I can see that I have my we have called it connection subcategory like gas. Autodesk unfortunately didn't think to have the condition or, but only the condition and. We saw many people in the world are telling to Autodesk this because it a big limit for this for the legend in our case, but for other things too, because with end condition and not the or condition, we cannot insert different kind of connection, so only one, because if I insert another connection subcategory, okay, for example, it expects that a connection has to contain both these subcategory, but it's not possible. Connection has only one. So this is a limitation of Revit on where we can do anything. We can do anything. So you have to create more schedules here for all your connection. Regarding the quantity, because I told you about the quantity. Okay, I can show here Revit manage the quantity in this way. So if you have an item with quantity more than one, it's split in more rows. This is the reason for why we haven't the quantity field into the model of template legend. This is another limitation of with Revit, and so not possible to work on it. I can show something about the layout. That is the last tab of iQuote palette here. Okay, is not so extended like in AutoCAD for the reason we spoke some minutes ago. So from here you can simply switch on or off some categories, because in Revit the layer are not existing. So you can switch on and switch off, for example, the gas connection to use to create some view, or using some feature of Revit for quotate the drawing, or anything more. I want to show you how to create the sheets. So if you want to put the drawing into the sheets, for example, I delete this, but don't like to me. New sheet, for example, A1. Okay, in our template we have inserted this with table, and now going into the view I can insert, for example, I can insert my view, or I can insert my schedule. Also here, my opinion, the schedule into the sheet is not so graphically good, but Revit doesn't have the table like we intend. So this is the schedule inserted into the Revit, and like Oreste asked before, here the same, you cannot insert any more column or anything, because it isn't a table, but it is a list of equipment taken from Revit families. Over this, today iQuoteRevit doesn't have the same utility you have in the annotations in iQuote for AutoCAD, such as the connections, quotations, and the leaders, etc. So to insert these informations today, you have to use your knowledge with Revit annotations functions. And once again, I would like to tell you, only remember when you work in Revit that there are the offer information and the Revit parameters information. That are two different things, and while you are working in Revit with schedules, you are using the Revit parameters information, and while you are working into the offer, so when you print the offer for your customer, you are working with offer data information.